Mr. Thurman, thank you so much for your time. I know this time is very precious as you prepare for this fight. So I do appreciate you sharing it with me.
Oh, no problem. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I've enjoyed watching just the candor in which you've been speaking. I watched your interview with Brian, and I watched you on the Porter Way, and you discussed the surgery and bone impacting, and just a lot of fighters don't speak with that much candor about what an injury is really like and what that road to returning to the ring is like. Unlike you, you've been very forthright with wishing you it might have taken a fight during the studio time, or just all those things, just being very open about it. But I do want to ask you about being healed and being whole. Now that you've had the surgery and being on the other side of it, when did it click in your mind that it was safe for you to throw a punch, that it was fully healed? Because the mental road back is very different from the surgery itself.
Well, the recovery took about 10 months. And then, we weren't sure exactly how it felt, but we eventually got back to the gym. We're hitting the heavy bag. And then little by little, I really realized at first, the first thing I realized was I was not in pain every day. You really don't understand how much pain you're in till you're no longer in that pain, right? So that was the first blessing that came my way, is that I no longer live in pain. So that's just a blessing. And the real question was, what's going to happen when I put that impact on the heavy bag, because, the heavy bags, they weigh more than my sparring partners, 200-pound heavy bags and things of that nature. So eventually, when I got back to the heavy bag, at first there was a little bit of achiness, right? And at first I was like, oh, is that how my hand's always going to feel? This and that. Maybe, maybe not. Well, it's not as bad as it once was, yada, yada, yada. And then long story short, you realize what I was feeling wasn't pain, it was atrophy, right? So it was just the lack of usage that it had for a long time. So a little bit more time goes by, I keep working it, keep working the bag, keep working my hand, do a few little strength exercises, give it a few massages, and then just a few more months go by, and, it was really good. Then, with COVID and everything, I've gotten even more time to go by. And I mean, it just feels great. I'm really blessed. The doctor told me that you'll be able to get more years out of your career with this type of surgery. And I was very timid. It's hard to take somebody by their word, no matter how educated they are. Doc's going to cut my hand open, put some bones, take two bones, put them together, and everything's going to be okay. Sounds good on paper, but, I was nervous. But deep, now that I'm here, oh, that doc knows what he's talking about. There's a reason why we went to him. There's a reason why he was recommended. And I'm very blessed and fortunate to have a doctor who was of his capacity that could really, bring me back around. What's happened to tons of athletes. The surgery is important, but the rehab is important. And we just did everything that we needed to do. And now we're ready. We're back. I mean, it really feels great. God willing, we don't mess up anything else. And we can finish out our career with some gusto.
Absolutely. You're a very insightful guy, and that insight's been very, very telling as an announcer. What do you think is the biggest difference between Keith the announcer and Keith the fighter? Because it's a different skill set, a different mental exercise to talk about the fight and be in the fight.
The only difference is one's taking punches and the other one's not. That's really the only difference for me. Because anytime that I'm talking boxing, I speak from the heart. I speak from the heart. I speak very casually. I'm very translucent, or transparent is what I'm looking for. I'm very transparent. Like you said, I'm very open. And that's just the authenticity of Keith Thurman. But the reason why I am like this is because I've been boxing my whole life. So you want me to talk about something that I've been doing my whole life. You want to talk about an industry that I've seen from the amateurs to the pros. You know, I've seen everything on the forefront. I've been guided. You know, I've done everything backstage. I've worked with all the major networks, you know, starting from HBO when I first premiered, you know, on the major networks, and then, you know, Showtime, Fox, NBC, ESPN, even, you know, I've done commentating for even Spike TV at some time. So, you know, for me, when we say networks, networks are networks. They all got their camera people. They all hire their analytical people. You know, I've seen so much of it that I'm just comfortable. What do you want? What do you want to talk? This is my new saying. It's 2022. There's nothing new. It's just boxing, baby. It's just boxing.
Now, with when you left when you had your not you left, but you had your last fight 2 years ago before you had your surgery, the welterweight division looked one way, and then now, you know, guys come, guys go, some retire, some move up, some move down. Has there been any surprising in what the division looks like now compared to what it looked like when you fought Manny Pacquiao? Are there any surprises within there that you didn't think you see on this side?
Well, the biggest, there hasn't been a whole lot of time because, you know, world-class fighters only get to make so many moves at one time, right? In a year. They only get to, you know, so when people are like, oh, Thurman's been out for this long, yada, 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 ain't a lot of plays been made, homie. There's only how much plays have been made, you know? There's been a few shifts. And so with the way that I look at the welterweight division, and to answer your question, I would say that Sean Porter retiring is really something that I wouldn't have predicted, right? I haven't had the time to come back. He's already out, you know. Mm-hmm. He fought Spence. He fought in studio, and he fought Crawford, and now he's out. So he got 3 moves in 2.5 years, and he got to announce his retirement. That was a little unexpected, right? Manny Pacquiao losing to a welterweight 2 years after fighting me, that wasn't truly unexpected. The unexpected part was Errol Spence didn't get to take the opportunity that was presented to him, which opened up the door for Dennis Ugas, right? Of course, Ugas has been on my radar for a long time. I know exactly who Dennis Ugas is. You know, I respect him as a welterweight fighter, as a champion. So, you know, he did a good performance against Pacquiao. Pacquiao announced his retirement. That one, everybody can predict. It's not a big shock, not a big surprise. We love everything that he did for the sport of boxing, brought a whole nation into the sport of boxing. So, you know, somebody like me who really understands that boxing is a worldwide sport, I really love when fighters like Pacquiao from countries that might not really have boxing on their radar, Pacquiao gave them a reason to really tune in. I myself now have a plethora of Filipino fans, and I'm very grateful. And none of that would have been manifested without Manny Pacquiao. So, for sure. You know, so when there's not a lot of things that really happen, you know, Spence wanted to get that belt from Manny Pacquiao, but some of these variables, and the real reason why a few of these things happen the way they happen is only because I was not able to be victorious against Manny Pacquiao. Otherwise, I would be the retainer of the WBA Super Championship, and then all roads would have still led to Thurman. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But with COVID and me not having the title, these other fights had precedence over my comeback. But now we're getting back in action. It's been a long time coming, and we're getting right back into the mix. Looking forward to February 5th. Looking forward to the challenge with Mario Barrios. And then afterwards, looking forward to bigger, better, and greater things in the welterweight division.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I want to touch upon that you mentioned Ugas. I'll come back to that. But now heading into the fight with Barrios, like you said, all these roads, Keith Thurman is always a topic. Everyone says, I don't want to fight Keith. Oh no, I'm not interested in that fight. But Keith Thurman's name is always in the mix of people who say they don't want to fight you. Spence has said before he'll never fight you, but that's all in the cycle again. Crawford now is able to maneuver a little bit better. Do you laugh when you hear those things? I'll never do it, but you're constantly being talked about despite being out for 2 years. What do you think about those things when you hear all this commentary from people who've said, I will never fight him?
At the end of the day, the fans love me. The networks love me. I just got a lot of love in the sport. I've solidified my status, you know. How many people are in demand after 2.5 years of a layoff? You know, it's not ideal. It's not how I want to treat the sport. You know, I got too much love and I respect the sport, and I wanted to be back in action earlier. I wanted to be back in action on the fourth quarter of last year. After working the Manny Pacquiao fight, I contacted COVID, and I wasn't really loud about it. I did my quarantine. You know, of course, I called up my management team because we were starting to schedule a possible December date, and I let them know what happened to me. So when I finally was healthy, and I was gonna have the time to maneuver a training camp, he said, "Well, look, Keith, you know, that was unexpected, and we kind of have to push you into the first quarter of next year, most likely January." And I said, you know, Al, I understand. I'm here. I'm getting ready. And let me know what opponents look like. And so they started trying to pinpoint a date. Then you slowly started to hear rumors about late January. There were small opportunities to be on an early January card, but those things didn't fall through for me. So a lot of other things happened, boom, boom, boom. And then I knew I wasn't hearing the word right away. So I knew, don't listen to rumors. Let's listen to Al. Boom. We got the fight date, February 5th. We got the opponent locked in, Mario Barrios. It is what it is. Mandalay Bay, you know. I love this boxing life. I love new experiences. I never got to fight at Mandalay Bay. I've had multiple experiences at the MGM Grand. I love the MGM Grand, Las Vegas, but Mandalay Bay has history from my gym. Ronald Winky Wright, you know, beat Sugar Ray Leonard. He beat Tito Trinidad in the Mandalay Bay. And I just look forward to being able to perform somewhere new. Vegas isn't new, but the arena and the setting is new. And, you know, I just don't look at any negatives. You know, we can fight here in a swamp in Florida. We can fight indoors, outdoors, send me to the moon. You know, as long as there's a broadcasting network, and as long as there's a respectable opponent, and, you know, and fight fans can be there, I mean, I'm all about it, man. That's what I do. I'm just here for the sport. I'm here to entertain, and I'm here to challenge everybody, and I'm here to be champion again. That's my my goal and my objective for this year. And so we just gotta step back in the ring first before we can make those admirations come true. So that's what February 5th is all about for me. So we'll see.
I like what the passion with you talked about back to Ugas. I feel like hearing you now, you almost had kind of similar trajectories. I watched you talk about your fight with Diego Chavez, and I remember being in Vegas and talking to you when you still had long hair. And I remember we were at a press conference. I think it was for the first Mayweather Maidana. And you were there campaigning like, look, I am the mandatory. I want to fight Floyd. I am the mandatory for that fight. And those fights wouldn't materialize. And then I think about Ugas and being the mandatory for many years and being on the chase, and then just serendipitous, if that's the word, serendipity. It happened that he fights Manny Pacquiao and then he gets the win. As someone who has been in that situation like him, if you had to give him some advice on how to navigate being on that fringe and being the person who's in that spot who should get the fight but doesn't get the fight, how would you tell him to continue navigate? Because now he's a champ, just like you were, the belt that you had. How do you navigate that road?
Oh, I mean, now he's good. You know, now he's good because he has a title that people really want. You know, the rumor is that they're already in talks with Errol Spence to have a big unification bout. You know, so for me, Ugas did what he really could do. The only thing you can do when you're in that situation, which is stay ready, win your fights, stay patient, keep praying, and just know that, you know, that when you get that shot and you get that opportunity, you got to take full advantage. And then, like you said, Lord and behold, boom, Errol Spence, retinal problem. 2 weeks, 3 weeks before the Pacquiao fight. But Ugas was already on the card. Ugas was already going to be there for a co-main event feature. Mm-hmm. But now he got to elevate himself into that main event feature. And then he showcased his skills and his talent to the world. And, you know, the reason why he was a champion, the reason why a lot of people didn't want to fight him, because he's not easy to beat. You know, he's a Cuban. He has knowledge in the boxing ring. He has composure. He's a big welterweight. He's got that long jab. And that's what made it very challenging for Manny Pacquiao. And, you know, he already had his loss over Sean Porter. So he's learned from his mistakes. If you want to be a champion, you got to beat the champion. You got to let your hands go. You can't just, this isn't a sparring match. This isn't that regular Cuban boxing where you know you're not getting beat up, so you're technically winning. You're not technically winning, you know? You got to show the world that you're winning, you know? He was able to do that against Manny Pacquiao, and let's see what he can do if he gets his fight with Errol Spence Jr.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, now as you head into this fight, the returning to the fight as a champion versus returning to the fight after suffering a loss are very different roads. How would you best articulate what that road is for you to take this next step to put yourself back in contention for a championship title fight? What does that look like to you? Now, you know, everyone always says, you know, it's easy to get up when you're sleeping on silk sheets and everything, but it's very different when you're trying to make that road back. So what is that like for you?
There's only two types of fighters in boxing: champions and challengers. I've been a challenger, worked my way to championship status. I have a hiccup. I dropped in the ranks. I'm a challenger once again. It's happened to many champions in the past. Like 2022, it's nothing new. It's just boxing, baby. It's just boxing. It happened to Muhammad Ali, you know. It happened to Mike Tyson. It's happened to so many greats. But if you're truly great, it doesn't matter what kind of sheets you're getting off of. What matters is your intent when you pick yourself back up. I plan on showing the world how great Keith Thurman is as a fighter. And for me, that means performing February 5th in terrific fashion, exciting the people, exciting the fans, and make them go, I don't need to say it. I don't even want to say it. But after my performance, I expect the people to say it for me on my behalf. You know, dang, you see Thurman? Ooh, you know what? Man, I wasn't sure, but you know what? Man, him and so-and-so, oh, that'd be a good fight. You know, him and that other boy, ooh, that'd be a good fight. Yeah, because Thurman versus everybody has always been a tremendous fight.
That's got
to
be
I have to remind the people. I have to remind the people, February 5th, it starts right here, right now, against Mario Barrios.
That's right. And so, and then one more question. When are we getting the Keith Thurman yoga workout program? Are we getting a Keith Thurman yoga workout program? Because I hear out there that, you know, Keith might want to be teaching some yoga.
You know, we'll see. Once when I feel, you know, fully embodied in my asanas, you know, right now, to be honest, yoga is for me, you know, and it took me a while to get there. You know, I used to go into yoga class with an ego. I used to go in a yoga class wanting to compete with everybody around me. And at the start of my training camp, I had a private yoga session over here on the pier, out in the open, beautiful. We did it in the park. I had my aunt join me, and me and her we both did the same thing. The instructor's doing his down dog, and we're like, yeah, we'll do it like that. We're gonna do it like that, you know. And I'm trying to compete with my brother, a local friend of mine. We call him Trip. I'm trying to compete with my brother Trip. Trip does yoga all the time. I don't do yoga all the time. This dude does yoga all the time. I'm trying to compete with his down dog. And then for the next 3 days in the gym, my hamstrings are on fire. They're aching because I overstretched. I did too much, you know? And then I said, bump that. I'm not hiring Trip again. You know, Trip's a great instructor. I've worked with him on multiple different occasions. I said, I'm not hiring Trip again. I'm not going to no yoga classes. I'm done. I'm just going to go down to the gym. I'm not going to have nobody around me. And when I say my gym, I mean my condo gym. I'm going to go down to my condo gym. I'm just going to stretch myself out. You know, there's no one around me. So there's nobody to compete with. My ego can shut the F up. I don't need to hear you, bro. You know, let's go. Let's do it. No. Deeper. You got it. Breathe. Hold it. Shut up. You know, cut it. So for me, I started doing that. All of a sudden, I opened up my hips a little bit. I opened up my legs a little bit, you know. And I said, you know what? I'm starting to feel good. But the most important thing was I got my ego out of the way. I was able to silence my ego, you know. And then after I felt comfortable with that, I said, you know what? I think you can go to yoga class. So then I went to yoga class, and they did a 21-day hustle, unlimited yoga, $65. I mean, that's like one Swedish massage, you know, for all access yoga. Boom, I pay it. I'm a yoga hustler right now. Boom, got my hustle. It ends in like 2 more days, you know. So I've been getting those in from time to time, normally about once to twice a week. And sure enough, I was able to go to class. And there's lots of people around me. And I didn't hear my ego. I said, you're here for yourself. You're here to better yourself for your own body, because it's about movement. For me, 33 years old, inactivity. Of course, early in camp, I felt stiff. I felt rigid, you know? So it's about mobility, getting my body to feel better. Everybody knows, anybody who's an older athlete or anybody who's older than me, it's not rocket science. We get stiff. Here in America, we sit in chairs, we sit on couches, we put our car seats back. We do all this stuff that helps our body be out of whack, you know? Mm-hmm. So mobility is really one of the fundamentals of health and wellness. So I just acknowledge that. I've been implementing the practice, you know. It's one thing to read a book, to listen to a podcast, but eventually you got to be like Nike, baby. You got to just do it. You got to just do it. So I've been doing it, working with myself, doing the practice for myself. When I feel a little bit more confident and I feel like I can demonstrate, you know, and I can keep my ego out of, oh, I want to show people how great my yoga is, this and that. When I bring yoga to others, it's going to be a sharing experience, you know? It's going to be a sharing experience. this has benefited me. I hope this can benefit you, you know? But it's been on my mind. I've been too focused on this fight. So it might happen post-fight in the off season, because I want to bring yoga into my off-season regimen so that I don't have to get out of couch, get out of bed and feel stiff and like, oh, here's another camp, champ. Here's another camp. No, I want my body to be able to move, flow right into another training camp, So I'm looking forward to the end of this story is you might be able to peep it with me. You might be able to join me early in the morning. I have the intentions of jumping on my live. I would love to jump on my live stream and just bring a little bit of one-time yoga practice to others. It's not ready in the here and the now, but we're working on it. And later this year, 2022, I said that it's nothing new, but yoga, that's something new that I'm going to bring to the people.
Well, I like that. I might have to join you, my brother, because I'm only good at the one. What's it, Savasana? Where you just lay there and take a rest.
Hey, girl, that's the best. I can do that one. That's the best. That's the 5-star asana right there. That's the best. That's what it's all about. You're really working. You're working to get to that point. You just want to lay down and give yourself the freedom to relax and let go of the stress, let go of the worry, go deep and recover. Whether you're laying there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it's so amazing what the body does when you just sit back, truly relax, and get that recharge for the day. So I've really been loving what it's doing for me and my body. I think it's going to show in my performance. That's that little secret is the yoga practice for the mobility. I'm hoping to dodge a few more punches, not get hit. You see your boy one time caught one time, you know what I'm saying? But I promise you it was a grazing blow. I promise you it just grazed me, but it just ended up leaving this beauty mark right here, little shiner, the mark of a warrior. This means I'm going to work. My wife was like, oh, what happened? What happened? I said, girl, this means your man got a job, okay? This is my job, okay? Believe that.
All right, my man. Well, namaste. I wish you the greatest of luck on February 5th. It is always a pleasure. I'm going to do the yoga because I need to get into that so I can do a little bit more than maybe like a warrior one and Savasana. That's all I got. But I'm going to get some more.
Don't go too deep, girl. Don't go too deep. Take it a little bit at a time. The one lesson I got from my baby girl, this is a lesson for everybody. Baby steps. No matter where you want to go, from point A to point B, believe in yourself, work on yourself, just do it, but you don't have to be in a rush. Baby steps, progression. You will get there in time. And just like that, Mario Barrios, this is my baby step. And I'm going to keep on stepping until we get that world title back in our hands later this year.
That is awesome. Well, I thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you in the ring. Thank you again, as always. Thank you.
And thank you, sister. God bless.
Take care.